Tomb of the Eagles, near Berwick in Orkney mainland, Scotland. On South Ronaldsay, at the southern tip of mainland Orkney, is the well-known Tomb of the Eagles, also known as Isbister Tomb. The site is privately owned and has a museum. A pleasant 1 mile walk from the museum along the coastline brings you to the tomb, where you are free to explore the exterior and interior. The chambered cairn was in use for around 800 years in the Neolithic period, from 5150 to 4400 years ago. The site is situated looking out towards the sea on a cliff edge. Ronald Simison discovered the site in 1958 while looking for stone to quarry. Weather erosion revealed a well-built wall of stone. It was here Ronald came across ceremonial tools. When digging further, he found a side cell and skulls. 2 decades later, the site was carefully and thoroughly excavated. This work revealed a structure which has survived for 5 millennia. This is proof our ancient ancestors were highly and multi-skilled. In the present modern era, we can still visit the site and imagine why the Neolithic people erected this structure and what went on inside. Outside the entrance is a big forecourt. The exterior is similar to Whiteford Hill Cairn. A low narrow passage leads you into the main chamber. A large skateboard is provided where you can lay on your back and pull yourself along the original entrance passage by a rope attached to the upper ceiling. The interior resembles Unston Cairn with 5 partitioned stalls of stone slabs. There are 2 end chambers and 3 side cells which branch off from the main area. Above the interior is a modern concrete roof which allows light in. This overhead plan shows the layout of the site with the northeast orientated entrance, the main chamber and side cells. Notice how the layout resembles the human body with a head, torso, arms, legs, and how the entrance enters the solar plexus area. When the tomb's ceremonial ritual life came to an end, the structure was closed and filled in after 800 years of use. Excavations in 1976 revealed remains of 340 people, animal bones from the Orkney vole, deer, sheep, pigs, fish and goats. These bones had been cut and used as food. The bones were placed in neat piles along the main chamber, then repositioned along with the skulls and put in the side cells, and all other remains positioned into each end chamber. Other finds were pins made of bone and flakes of flint. Outside the entrance there were finds like a button made of albertite, a mace head, a broken ring made of cannel coal and 3 stone axes. Inside the tomb, 70 talons from the white-tailed sea eagle were found. This is where the site got its name Tomb of the Eagles. The sea eagle is sometimes seen on Orkney but does not breed here. This unique find of talons may indicate the sea eagle being a totem for the clan or family. Other possible totems in Orkney were dogs, otters, deer, songbirds and cormorants. Countries in Europe use the eagle as a symbol of power, like Poland, Germany, Russia, France and Rome. In Christianity, St John the Evangelist is symbolised as an eagle. Inside Tomb of the Eagles was the biggest find of pottery in northwest Europe. Burnt and broken Unstonware pottery shards weighing 4.5 stone came to light. The pottery for general use was not decorated. Around the globe, primitive tribes would bury belongings with the deceased for the afterlife journey. Much of the pottery for this transaction were decorated around the rim, with some of the decoration being indented by the fingernail. Excarnation is a ceremony of exposing a departed person's body to the open elements until decayed. Wildlife then scavenges the flesh and all that remains is the bones. The bones are then burnt or buried and placed in a special location. The body may have been displayed on a wooden structure in front of the tomb. The tomb's northeast entrance seems to be aligned with the Beltane sunrise. This occurs at the beginning of May. Beltane is a Celtic cross-quarter day, the halfway point between spring equinox and summer solstice. This was a very important time for our ancient ancestors. Babette Barthelmess observed on May 2nd at 05:13 am. The sun stepped over the horizon and cast the tomb in bright light. The sides of the passage started glowing and a glistening golden square appeared on the back wall just opposite the passage entrance. Inside the tomb it was very light, and the gentle curvatures of the walls and inward sloping monoliths that separate the 5 segments could be clearly observed. Perhaps the ancestors conducted a sacred ceremony with the solar rays penetrating the dark entrance passage and creating a golden portal to the other world on the wall of the main chamber. A big thanks to my Patreons. Please consider being a Patreon for exclusive and early access content. Please subscribe, leave a comment for a personal reply, join the Before Caledonia Facebook group, and lastly, a big thanks to our ancient ancestors.